My name is Nicole Kessler Snook, and I am a science teacher and service learning coordinator at Changemaker High School. I've been a Changemaker since 2013, and I have helped hundreds of kids become inspired in community work that they didn't know that they were capable of. One of those projects that happened in 2014, and it started then, was I challenged my students to think of an issue in their community or in the school community that they could address with a solution that could be put in place within a month, and that we could evaluate and conduct research on. And it just so happened that it rained that day, and one of my students said, I would love it if there was a bridge in the community. The bridge was going to be a Band-Aid, basically, to help students and pedestrians get over the flooded wash when it rained so that they could get back and forth to bus stops and to schools and to homes. And we kept using the term Band-Aid. This is just a Band-Aid. This is just going to fix that problem. It's not going to address the actual cause of the problem. So we did a root cause analysis, and we found out that the flood in the street by the school is caused by some changes to the wash that were made by a different school because they wanted a soccer field, and they ended up blocking the wash to build up that soccer field, and that has resulted in the flooding. It has resulted in trash buildup along a fence line because the water has nowhere to go. We were awarded after a 2-year period the permission, the permits, the money, etc. from the county to go ahead and install the bridge, and that was all taken care of by the government. In the meantime, I was approached by a colleague that said, there is some money out there for you to do wash work. And I said, that's great. I will propose a project. Well, the project I proposed to this group was to actually change the wash so that the water that is in there can be used for water harvesting instead of wasted on the street. And apparently this group that offered this money had never received a proposal like that. And so they were very interested right away. They were very skeptical as well, but they wanted to hear and see what we were talking about. And so after several meetings and several drafts and several measurements, etc., design was made and finally accepted, which created 4 water harvesting basins that will be used for planting and putting the natural habitat back into this area of Swan Park that is denuded. It's been treated as a dumping ground and a wasteland. And if you stand out there for any period of time, there are no animals, there are no birds, there aren't even pigeons. And there are barely any insects. There are some trees that have grown as volunteers, but we're going to intentionally plant the correct desert plants that go there that attract the pollinator so that more growth can happen and it can provide food for the wildlife that we would like to see in the park that is supposed to be there. So the wash has been graded as part of the bridge project. So the county and this group combined forces, combined funding, and used machinery that was already going to be out there to go ahead and regrade the wash according to our plans. So what currently exists out there right now is the beginning of what is called the Saving Water in Nature project at Swan Wash. And it will start with a rock reinforcement of the basins where the water is expected to erode the banks, so we will reinforce that. And the county will hydroseed the area with a wild seed bosque, I think is what it's called. It's a mixture. And then we will have a big planting day where we will get about 200 plants in the ground that are currently not there in the different basins at the different levels where the water will be, so that they can naturally grow according to our desert environment. And that is the Swan Wash Project.